He was an arrogant snake, slicker than the upstate streets on a dark rainy night. The kind of man who sees pawns where most see people. He reminded me of Vlad, but I trusted him 50% less and liked him a third as much. I was a cynical renegade nihilist with a bad temper. The kind of man who can turn a molehill into a volcano or memory lane into a graveyard. We were hardly the professionals this job called for, but the job never called for professionals. I was another piece in his little game, a convenient accessory. He didn't know it at the time, but his role was the same to the people who hired us both. Between his betrayal of me, their betrayal of him, and my betrayal of mankind, the dishonesty and ulterior motives distracted us enough to mistake this job for a good idea. But there wasn't a single trick in the book which could have prepared us for what we saw when we walked into that bank. It was no secret. I was already untrustworthy on the simple basis of being morally misguided, but to further the point, to dig the heel in, I was also a little too crazy for the task. I did the only thing I really had the control enough to do, make it as known as I possibly could so that the people around me would stay as far away as they hopefully would. There were always the few though, the moths, unable to resist their curiosity for the flame. The thing they don't tell you about the flame is that as the moths go down in their semi-warranted blaze, they take a little piece of the flame down with them. It's no mystery, everything only has so many pieces to give away, to lose, to sell, to trade, to gamble off. It seemed I still had one piece left and it just wouldn't die. Or maybe it already had, a long time ago. They told me it was over, but I knew that it wasn't. The past is never over. You carry it with you every single day with the hope that the present will distract you enough not to think about its weight. For some, it's the hope that the future is promising enough to keep your eyes on the road. The truth about the past is that you don't really put it behind you. You put it in your rearview mirror, which is always in front of you. You try not to look at it, to focus on the path somebody else probably paved for you. But all it takes is one accidental glance to remind you that you haven't gotten nearly as far away from the past as you had been hoping in the time you've spent since you checked. But it's always there, and in my case, it was trying to pass me.